Welcome to another episode of W.K.H. I am your host, Edwin Perez. I have a very interesting, to say the least, a very interesting individual joining me today. Met him through comedy, through the pursuit of funniness, and in an art form in itself. It was very interesting to meet him. And today, my guest is Zay Burns.
What's up? What's up?
Isaiah, tell these people your Instagram, and before we can start getting to it, they can at least check you out on Instagram and your comedy.
You can find me at Just Another Comedian on Instagram, TikTok,
That wasn't taken.
YouTube. Nope, that's my Instagram handle.
Just Another Comedian was not
Yep.
taken.
And
That's
then
badass.
You could also find me at Poetry Entertainment on YouTube.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you for joining me. I know it was kind of a drive to get here. Nobody really likes coming to the west side of Jacksonville, so I do appreciate that shit. I appreciate that.
Everything's a drive for me. I live out in the country.
Yeah.
So I live just far enough away for if somebody wants to drive to my house angry, they got to think about it.
That's true, man. I mean, it'd be crazy if somebody was like 2 hours in and it's like, I'm gonna, you know what? I don't regret it. I'm still gonna do it. Hey, that's a long time to get to your house, bro. What did you say? Green Cove?
Yeah.
You guys got a lot of cool shit out there, though. I don't know what is that part of the St. John's, that one little creek river thing you guys have going down. It's like a lake.
We got a couple. We got
Yeah.
Black Creek and then
Black Creek. I knew exactly as soon as you said the name. I knew I was gonna know. Yeah, we swam out there. I don't know if that was a good place to swim at.
Nah, you could have got eaten by alligators, my man.
Well, I swam in Black Creek, and I'm here to tell the story, dog. But yeah. So what brought you out there? Were you always live? Did you grow up out there, or?
Nah, I stayed in Orange Park for most of my life. It's just I bought a house after COVID, so
Okay,
like
awesome.
right after COVID.
Damn, what a time to buy a house, right?
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. Holy shit. So, question I gotta ask. I meant to ask earlier when we were catching up, but obviously let's save the good stuff for the podcast. What got you into comedy, man? I mean, I know you kind of told me, and it's been years since we talked about this, but that's kind of where I wanted to start out. What brought you to comedy?
Time to bum everybody out, make everybody sad.
Is that you're like the emo of comedy?
Yeah, I suffer the philosophy of nihilistic optimism.
Nihilistic optimism. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that an unorthodox kind of statement?
yeah.
Okay, I just want to. That's funny, bro.
You take a bleak outlook towards something, but keep it. That's what keeps you positive and grounded.
It's like a form of coping.
Yeah.
Within comedy.
Within life.
Within life. Okay, even deeper. Shit. You have to do that.
But I started doing comedy because back in like 2019, 2020, in that range, my brother got hit by a car and died. And our last conversation was about happiness.
Are you dead ass right now?
Yeah.
Don't make this a bit. That's crazy.
No, this is true.
Okay.
And he was handicapped. He was mentally handicapped. So our last conversation was just him repeating to me over and over again when I went to my mom's house, "Why are you not happy?" Over and over and over again. So when he passed away, I thought about our last conversation about me not being happy. And then I thought, what would make me happy? What makes me happy? And then I was like, well, I spent my whole childhood watching TV. I spent my whole childhood watching stand-up. I spent my whole childhood watching art, thinking I couldn't be an artist. What was going to stop me from doing that if I'm going to be happy? Nothing. So that's why I do comedy. That's why I do art.
That's amazing. That's a passion, brother. That's awesome. Two questions. The first one is, you've obviously found your answer to being happy. A curious question, because I like to reverse engineer things, right? Even people. I'm not trying to dissect you or anything. I'm just kind of like, I like to understand the thought process of people's brains and people's realities, right? So you found the answer to what made you happy. My question is, why weren't you happy?
Oh, because I work in jobs that I hate to survive, just like everyone else does.
Right.
We're all part of a system that is truly designed to keep you stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to break out of that system is to work as hard as you possibly can
Yeah.
to find something that makes you happy, and then do every single possible thing to pursue that, whether you're almost to the detriment of yourself.
Yeah.
The whole system is designed to keep poor people poor.
Right.
And if you don't work hard, there's no way you're going to break out of it.
Mm.
The starving artist is a thing because art's not valued. You have to bring it value. People have to bring it value.
Right.
So the only way you can bring it value is through effort. That's the only thing that brings anything value is effort and time.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for sharing that, by the way. Shit, I didn't know it was that deep. Rest in peace to your brother. Can I make a joke?
Yeah, go for it.
It's not really a joke. It was more of a question that is gonna come off as like joking. But was your brother mentally retarded before he got hit or after? Because he got hit and died.
Oh, he was mentally handicapped his whole life.
Okay, and then he just kept asking you that before.
That was the whole thesis of our last conversation. Was just like I came in to the house to go visit my mom, and I wasn't in a good mood, and he was just like, "Why are you so unhappy? Like, why are you so sad?"
You know, I hate to compare it to this, but you've heard of Love on the Spectrum?
Yeah.
Like, I actually found that very interesting because of how simple things can be. And, like, when you simplify things, we shouldn't have to work. It's just more about serving society, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all have a purpose. You know, we could serve society. Some of us actually have jobs that we do like. You know, some people find a passion in psychology. Some people find a passion in finance. And they could teach other people, like me personally. That's why I have a day job, kind of like you do, which we both are like, screw this, I could do this, you know, whatever. Like, I don't want to do this. I just need to do this. But we are both on a certain path and a goal in life to get out of it. The problem is that a lot of people, like you said, get stuck. Mm-hmm. And the whole goal, I've always mentioned this, the whole point of a 9-to-5 is to fund your dreams. You told me you do a lot of driving for comedy.
I do.
Have you put it down in a paper how much you actually spend on gas just to go to shows?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
How much?
My car has about 70,000 miles on it right now.
What did you get it at?
21.
How long ago?
A couple years ago.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Like 3 years ago?
3 years ago. It's kind of a little bit above average.
It's a 2024. So
what?
23. So I
2
got it
years.
in 23. So in 2
No,
years.
that's sick.
It's
50,000 in 2 years is nuts.
Yeah, it's at like 65.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
crazy.
Yeah.
So then a lot of that is gas and shit.
Yeah, it's comedy.
And then let me ask you, are you getting paid for some of these shows, or some of these are just pop-ups?
Some of them are paid shows. Some of them are I'm going to go to Orlando and go do 10, 15 minutes. Hang out with some people, go get another show.
Nice.
Nice. I went up to Atlanta, did some comedy in Atlanta.
How'd that go?
It went well.
Nice. What is your niche crowd, do you think? Like, what crowd are... First, give me like this. First, what city do you feel like, yo, these people, every time I go to this city, they're nuts, they love me? And then have you found the niche of people?
So my philosophy towards comedy is a great unifier in general. So if you're a good comedian, it shouldn't matter what city you are in. Because you should be able to communicate with people.
Facts.
So, and I am a bleak person. Again, nihilistic optimism.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of follow. So it's just like the Shakespearean formula of comedy. Comedy is just tragedy over time.
Exactly. And there's a fine line between those two.
Yeah, everyone can understand pain, everyone can understand humor, and anything in between. And so if we can all sit in a room and laugh at the world that we are all stuck in, then we can all have a good time no matter who you are. So I don't normally have a problem going to any crowd, um, old, young, uh, white, black, Asian. I don't really have a problem.
Nice. Do you feel like I agree that we learned a lot from Carrie for sure. At least like I feel like I learned a lot of like the dynamic, almost the psychological side of it, like portraying expectations, like you said, emotion, because you have to like do your comedy based off your emotion. Like this pisses me off. Oh, it's so funny when this happens, or this hurts. This sucks. That is, dude, that's amazing. Because I feel like you seem like an antisocial fucking person, but then you also know like human psychology, and then it's like you could honestly get it. I could put you in any fucking kind of setting, huh?
Yeah. Uh, that dude hates me, by the way.
Yeah, no, he hates everybody. It's
Yeah.
alright, brother. Eventually, it just kind of comes to a point that like, if you're not doing his shit, he doesn't like you.
But it's just one of those things where it's like I'm not antisocial. I'm on that spectrum. So it's
Well,
just
you look like you in the spec. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean I do. I look like fucking Captain Caveman. But it's just one of those things where it's like at the end of the day we're all people.
Yeah.
Like I did a show down in Daytona and I was featuring for a guy, and then after the show I just spent like 45 minutes talking to one person in the audience.
Damn.
Like she was outside, I was just talking to her because she was having a bad time because she moved down here from Boston and she didn't know nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, here's some stuff you can do, here's some things. And she was like, I'm struggling with these things. Well, here's some things that you can do to kind of alleviate that. And it's like, that was the best part of me going to that show. Wasn't doing the comedy. It was talking to that person and making that person's day better.
You know, as a person, have you seen? I'm not sure if you've seen much of the content that I have on TikTok, which is like life coaching and just trying to like the whole path that I'm trying to take with this podcast, with this image. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like no matter how authentic we all are, we kind of have to play different faces for different people. Not because we're fake, just because you're a different man to your with your wife. You're a completely different Zay than with me. I mean, at least I would hope so.
No.
You're not gonna look at me the same way you look at your wife. You may be more vulnerable with your wife than you would be with another person.
You would be surprised. For me, unfortunately, I am the same with almost everybody, to the annoyance of my wife.
You feel like she gets a little bit extra, Zay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the only person that could, right?
She gets to see me naked. Is that something you want?
Do you feel comfortable to be naked?
If I had my wife's permission, yeah.
That's crazy. There you go, guys.
I could care less.
This is the most open book guy ever. That's awesome, man. You're very free. And it's funny. I said free spirited earlier when we were talking about working 9 to 5s and shit. What is the goal with comedy now? Is it more of continuing to spread that seed that you mentioned, which isn't just about the comedy, but the amount of people that you get to impact and encourage and empower? Or is it just like, do you want to see yourself on a main stage, making a lot of money off of that?
So I always tell people when they ask me like comedy advice and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have to look at your own personal goal on what you want out of comedy. Because like you can look at your professional peers who have made it, right? Like you're the big named comedians, and look at the scale of them and go, what lane do you want to be in? Do you want to be a Doug Stanhope, or do you want to be a Bert Kreischer? Do you want to sell out arenas and be effectively a marketer like Kreischer, like Kevin Hart, who don't necessarily, their whole stuff is just a vibe. It's, you go to a Kevin Hart show, you go to like those types of shows. It doesn't have to be the funniest thing in the world because there's going to be 1,000 people who are all going to have a good time because there's 1,000 people having a party. It's a party when you go to those arena shows where or do you want to be like a Doug Stanhope style comic where you are working solely comedy clubs and don't have that interest in that
pursuing
side of
more.
stuff? You're
I don't know who
here.
that is. For the record, but I mean, it'd be interesting now. Obviously, you piqued my interest. So is he like kind of choosing to?
Uh,
Do you think like this guy has like the ability, the talent to do?
the best way I could put Doug Stanhope is probably your favorite comedian's favorite comedian.
Damn, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so like where like he just does comedy clubs
Hmm.
and he travels and does comedy clubs. He has no interest in going further. You know Bobby Lee?
Yeah.
So like Bobby Lee is like in this spectrum, like near the
Oh,
middle.
wait, it's another person out there in the spec. You keep doing that on purpose, though. You keep naming people.
Well, it's examples for point of reference so people can know what I'm
I
talking
know.
about. Where he does like like podcasts and stuff, and that's how
Yeah.
he keeps himself relevant.
Yeah, I see that.
But have you ever seen a Bobby Lee stand-up special?
Only once, like literally once.
He doesn't have a stand-up special.
He doesn't?
No.
Am I
He has
looking at the
some
wrong
clips.
Asian guy?
Yeah, probably.
That's
His
racist.
philosophy towards stand-up specials is I don't want to put one out because then every time you come see me, I have to try to remember what jokes I did there, and I can't be authentic when I'm in doing comedy.
You know, but there's a lot of, dude. Here, okay, you're gonna hate me for this. Me and my roommate have this argument all the time. This can come off as selfish, but I actually don't really. That's why I don't know a lot of these comedians is because
Because you quit comedy?
That's one.
Yeah.
That's kind of one, and I wouldn't say I quit comedy. I'd say I'd put it on the back burner, if you will.
You got more important priorities in your life at the moment.
And honestly, I feel like comedy has always been there. It's always gonna be there. It's not something that, like, for example, like, it's kind of like think about it like a 9 to 5, but in this case, you know, you could always be too old to work a 9 to 5. You can never be too old to be a comedian. And my priority right now is building a foundation for wealth, so then that way I can do the time to dedicate to comedy. And even at that time, if I don't want to do comedy, in other words, I'm trying to buy my time back.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
You know what I mean? Because if I really wanted to do stand-up, brother, I don't have to worry about if the show's far, if it's late, if I got to go to work the next day. Those can, and I thought to myself this before, I was like, damn, these are all excuses. But then I really, really had to sit down and think, and it's like, no, this is just what I want right now.
I mean, those are factors is what I consider them more than excuses. If somebody, I have a friend of mine who he did like 2 like open mics, and that's all he did with comedy, and he constantly talks about going back and doing comedy. But it's like it's always late at night. It's always like I'd have to drive far to go do more things. It's like these are barriers that are part of the career. So it's one of those things where it's like if that comes with the job, just like any job. Like if you were to be a truck driver, you're going to be away from home
for days at a time.
And you're going to have to go to trucking school where you're going to be gone for who knows how long. It comes with that job. So it's just one of those things where when you look within yourself and you see your priorities and what you want with your life and where your time needs to be allocated for you, it makes perfect sense for a lot of people to go, I don't have the time to drive and go do these things, versus I could spend that time more efficiently building something else easier here. And it's not an excuse at any point for someone to be like, I don't want to drive that far. It's a barrier that person doesn't want with that career.
We all have that ego. So sometimes, like you said, it's not an excuse. You made it seem like you've definitely, I don't know if you've had an ego death or if you've even ever had an ego big enough, because you seem so open to just anything. And I mean that in the best way possible. Like, ego isn't always the best thing. So not having too much of it is a great thing. You know, just enough to like not get disrespected. You know what I mean? I think that's like, I'm pretty sure you're not a pacifist, are you?
No.
There you go. So I'm gonna say, dude, if you're a pacifist, it's crazy.
No.
Like you're just the gentlest fucking motherfucker. Cool. I just wanna. It's not cool that you're not, but it's funny that you're not a fucking pacifist. Because if you were, bro, I'd be like, damn, I can't say shit.
I don't have I don't seek conflict.
Yeah.
It's not something that I ever will choose, but if I have to defend myself, I can.
Right.
That's all.
I can and I will. Oh man, and the good old wise words of this lady that used to work with us in collections. I'm a Christian, but these hands still work. And she said that in like in the middle of the call center, brother. Like because somebody was trying her and she's like, I'm a Christian, baby, but these hands still work. I was like, oh, damn. But dude, very good outlook on life, man, and comedy itself. I definitely I see your growth in the knowledge of comedy, and most importantly, in your confidence. Now, this could be from the outside looking in. Maybe you were always this confident, and maybe you weren't this confident in comedy in the beginning. But from the day I met you in when we were doing, what was it, introduction to, I don't even know what
whatever comedy class it was.
Yeah, comedy class. When we met there, compared to like now and how you're going about your comedy, you're more confident with it.
It's less confident. I would say it could be perceived as confidence, but for me, it's more not caring anymore. So like back then, it was like I have to impress these people. If I step out of line, if I do things too crazy, then it's like a social status, like things will go bad for me kind of deal. Now I'm at the point in my life where I just don't care. If people don't like me for who I am, it sucks for you, man. I'm just not going to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
I don't need that in my life.
Have you had any like I'm pretty sure you've had a heckler.
Yeah.
Have you had like it trying to get physical or at all?
No, never.
That's good. Well, what was the worst heckler you feel like you've had?
I mean, I have drunk people all the time, like, try to talk over me and do all of these things. It's just, I normally disarm it by just talking with them and just being like, hey,
Comedic about it.
I have a microphone. I can be louder than you. I will be louder than you. No matter how loud you get, I have a speaker system.
All right. Like, just keep turning it up. Just keep turning it up. Shut that motherfucker up. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome, man. What are some projects you're working on? If you don't mind sharing some of those, maybe you want to enlighten some of the viewers. Like, hey, you know what? This is what I'm working on. Check this out, or anything new that we should be kind of expecting from you.
I've been doing a lot of YouTube videos on my YouTube channel on Spiral Tree Entertainment. I do a lot of like TV show game reviews right now on there.
TV show reviews and then game reviews?
Yeah.
Like new shows, old shows,
old shows. I'm watching Samurai Jack right now.
Oh, dude. Actually, I would like to rewatch it. It's been a while. Yeah, I don't think I've watched it all the way through. I've watched like, you wake up and it's playing at night. That's awesome.
I'm playing like old games that I didn't get to play through in my childhood, things like that.
That's awesome. I like the message that you posted. I'm not sure how long ago you posted it, but when you were basically, well, that's when I messaged you.
Yeah.
That's the reason I messaged you, is because I saw that. I was like, dude, this is like, I need to talk to Zay. Like, it's been a while since we've actually clicked. I know that a while back, I was thinking about doing a show, but I think it was a little too far for me. For the record, one of the, I guess since you like to, we rephrase them as barriers, like you said, is my vision. Because I can't get myself around. You know what I'm saying? And then either it's like, fuck, I'm not going to pay $60 for an Uber to get to the other side of town and back.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I can't get a ride from my people. So that's kind of like another reason why, like, as I stopped driving, I stopped doing comedy.
Yeah.
And that's
a huge one.
That's why I have, TikTok, this podcast. I can still express myself, get a little bit of that out. Because, again, once I buy that time back, bro, I'm free to do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean? And then I also admire your path, because you're like, again, you are investing in yourself, dude. All this gas money and all that stuff, which you never told me. What part of that spectrum, from main stage, Kevin Hart, to what is his name, Doug what?
Doug Stanhope.
Stanhope. Where do you see yourself?
I would love at some point in my comedy career to just sell comedy clubs and be a comics comic and just sell out comedy clubs consistently. I don't ever see myself being able to do that arena comedy, just because my style of comedy is too personal. When you get that big, you lose all of
the impact, almost
the personability. It makes it so much harder.
Yeah, it's less intimate.
Yeah, it makes it so much harder to sit in front of someone and just go, "Hey man, who's your hero?" and ask them a question. And then for them to easily reply back to you.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not Matt Rife, you know. It's this.
You don't think
Yeah,
it's. I get it. No, I totally get it, bro. That's actually the one I was mentioning about him, up and coming, like very, very up and coming, and I like his style. I was talking about the other day with my roommate about like almost like the evolution of comedy, from set up punchline, set up punchline, set up punchline, crowd work, set up punchline, and then now it's like crowd work. Like crowd work is becoming more and more, because you remember our old teacher used to hate doing crowd work. He's like, oh, crowd work is like the lowest level you can do in comedy, which to a certain extent, I think he thought it in the aspect of written comedy. Because if it is written comedy, then obviously it's the lowest, but that doesn't negate the fact that it's still comedy. Because he wanted to see it as a gap. Like, oh, I forgot my bit. Hey, guy with the blue shirt, you look kind of gay, huh? Or, you try to, like, work the crowd, as they say.
Yeah.
Right? Versus Matt Rife, he's like, dude, I'm a crowd's guy. Like, let's go. I have maybe a couple of jokes that he has in his back pocket that he can add at any point in his set because he knows how to do that. But most of this is crowd work. I'm rolling off of you guys.
It's one of those things where it's like comedy is so subjective that you can have so many different types of things.
Facts.
I see crowd work comedy, like crowd work stand-up, more as an improv show than as stand-up comedy. So that's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
It's more of it's less upbeat improv comedy.
Less upbeat. What do you mean by that?
Go to an improv comedy show. They are the happiest motherfuckers you've ever seen in your life. They're so happy it's uncomfortable.
But you're saying stand up is more, the people that do stand up are like more conservative?
No, it's less that. It's just like most stand up comedians are sad, dude.
Yeah.
So like
no.
When you do like crowd work, it's not like oh, I've spent a year alone in my studio writing childhood trauma jokes. It's I'm here communicating with you like a human being. So it's like the happiness level goes up.
Damn, dude, I never even thought about that shit, dude. Jesus Christ.
And since it's not a lot of like written material a lot of time, it's like playing off the crowd and then going off of like a list of jokes or like subjects you may have based on responses. It's very similar to the same premises of improv comedy, where you're given a scene and then you're like, oh, I know I have a certain list of tactics that I use when giving certain styles of prompts.
Based on your story, now this is just the psychness in me trying to be like, yo, based on your story, you started off kind of sad, you're doing stand-up. Do you feel like as you get happier, you're going to find yourself in improv, bro?
No, I do improv though. I find that there's no discipline of comedy or art that is above or beneath a different discipline of art. So if though I want to do stand-up comedy and I'm going to do it my way that I want to do stand-up, and I kind of have this way that I want to do it solidified, there's nothing wrong with going to an improv class, going to acting, going to study YouTube, coming to a podcast, doing all of these other things to learn these skills, because the skills become transferable to the art that you do. So then when I go to do my stand-up, oh, I have a heckler. Well, I'm going to use the skills that I have learned from improv and deal with the heckler.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the skills that I've learned from acting to do act outs in stand-up.
Right.
And feel comfortable doing that in front of complete strangers.
Right.
I'm going to take all of these skills together and make something out of them. And then when someone comes to me and asks me to teach them something, then I can teach them that and show them how it applies to what they want to do.
I love that, dude. One of the reasons that I got inspired to do comedy is because I never followed the rules. And that was my thing. Like till this day, I'm always been like, my mom used to say, there's a saying in Spanish, and I'll translate it. It never sounds as good, but contra la corriente, which is against the current. My mom always used to say that about me. She's like, why are you always trying to go against the current? Why are you always trying to go against the current? And like, if one, I'm a lefty. I always used to say that as an excuse to her. Oh, because I'm a lefty. You know, I'm like, and I'm not like everybody else. I'm a lefty. But then when it came to school, like, I've always found a way, bro, till this day, as a fucking 30-year-old man, I've always found a way to go around things, in the sense of like, hey, this needs to be done, and it needs to be done like this, and this. I'm like, okay. And then I find out a way to go around that and still get this exact same fucking result. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So it's like, when I saw comedy, I'm like, dude, when people are like, you can't say that, I always used to do things, and my biggest, like, if I fall asleep and I hear a word that I've heard my entire life, the most is, you can't say that. And I love that shit. I thrive on when people, I'm like, first of all, comedians say the things that you don't have the balls to say sometimes. And I'm not saying that, like, again, like, as an ego, like, we're better than you. It's just more like, yo, for real, like, some of us have seen the world in such a fucked up way that everybody else has kind of seen it, but then people are like, that's a bad thought. We shouldn't think that, because we're conditioned that we have to think a certain way, and there's limitations. And even like with racist jokes, bro, like, if you make racist jokes about everybody, you're not really racist. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I make fun of all cultures, including my own, I'm just being funny.
The philosophy that I take towards comedy in that regard is, there are things that I should not talk about in specific ways.
Okay.
Like,
In specific ways. Okay, I'm with you so far.
so, like, if I, a white man, am going to talk about the struggles of the Mexican people or the Latin people or whatever nationality you are in particular,
Crazy.
right? And I were to talk about that just directly without any context or anything like that, I just went in, and you're going to look at me and go, that's really fucked up. What point of reference do you have? Where do you come from to be able to talk about this? Why are you talking about it? Where, like, I have a joke right now where I talk about Uncle Luke. You know Uncle Luke?
Yeah.
2 Live Crew?
Yeah.
And, like, that's one of my heroes. I love that dude.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
It's not about his music.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah. But, like, I explain to the audience, and I explain, because a lot of people don't know who 2 Live Crew is.
It's old though.
Yeah.
That's also.
So I explain like Miami-based music to people. I list some of their songs, and then I explain why Uncle Luke is my hero, because he went to the Supreme Court and fought for the right to say whatever the hell he wanted to say on his records. He went to the Supreme Court and was like, hey, I want to say lyrics like pop that pussy and be able to do that. Parody songs.
I didn't know that.
Uncle Luke went to court for that. But his lawyer that spent that 25 years fighting for injustice, whatnot, is also the same lawyer that defended Roger Stone here in Florida. Two sides of the same coin, you know?
Mm.
So by spending that time to give the context of why all this is now the premise of the joke of why I hate all law firms that sound like a buddy cop film.
Damn.
I don't trust no Morgan and Morgans. I don't trust no.
Bro,
but I gave all the context and then explain why I don't trust lawyers, even though I look like someone who probably needs a lawyer.
Right. So I mean, my thing is, bro, you can say whatever the fuck you want as long as it's funny. Like if there's and also, you know, when people know enough about a culture, like if you're a white man and you're talking about, like, if you're like, oh yeah, I love Dominicans and they're mango, and then it's like, it's funny because like you're ignorant, you're not saying it right, it's mango. You know, I'm not Dominican, by the way. I'm just using that as an example. But like, or you know, I'm Nicaraguan and Gallo Pinto, he's like, God damn, Nicaraguans and your Gallo Pinto.
Yeah.
Like that would have made me laugh. I would have been like, what do you know about that? I'd be almost impressed at the fact that you know what that is.
My point of view is you have to have a stance that is a direction.
Okay.
So if your joke is ignorance,
yes, or distasteful,
then you have to stay ignorant. You can't then feign understanding and then be like, oh, I know everything about this and I'm choosing to be ignorant.
Okay. Versus that, there's a difference. It's called, I think it's my cousin taught me this a while back. It's called deadly ignorant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then that brings an inauthenticity, and all artists should be authentic.
Absolutely. Agreed.
So like if I see someone saying like mango, and then I see them saying it again, and then I see them saying it a third time, it's like, I know you know how to say that word. You know?
Yeah.
You're saying it wrong on purpose.
Right.
Because it's staged.
Right. Exactly. That's part of the bit.
It's part of the bit, but this part of the bit is that like underhanded ignorance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where if you acknowledge, hey, it's incomprehensible how hard it is for me to pronounce the words that you all say.
Oh shit, not the you all.
But that's the character.
Yeah.
So then in that context, in that like vibe where it's like, I can't understand this, and then you've laid that out, then you've made sure that the audience knows, I know what this is. Mm-hmm. I just don't get it.
Yeah. No, totally. I like that, man. You have a very good perspective on it, man. I wish you the best with your future endeavors. We're almost about to wrap up here. So one thing I'm trying to implement in these episodes is towards the end, I'd like to, even though you've given us a lot, if there could be just kind of very brief, what's your message to the world?
My message to the world in general is everything in your life is out to get you. The system is out to get you. And the best thing that we can all do as people is to help each other, help the person next to you, because small change is the only way change actually gets done. There is not a lot of things that we can do as a single person in a large scale, but what we can do is I can help you and you can help the next member in your community. And if everyone helps small, then now we are helping a neighborhood, and then we're helping a city, and then through positive change within ourselves, we are now helping a town, and then a state, and so on and so forth. So just make sure that you just help the person next to you, even if it's something small as coming to a podcast and catching up with an old friend.
Right. Much respect, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely, man. That is a very beautiful message. That's really what it comes down to. You know, I feel like we're all here. I've always said human beings are resources, and I don't mean that as like using people, but everybody is a resource, which also means how are you a resource to others. So very beautiful message, Isaiah Burns. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for coming, man. Hope
Yeah,
you have
man.
a good one.